Welcome everybody to the Divine Feminine Ascension Council. For this video, we have myself, Wendy Lou, and the lovely Eartha Vega.
Woohoo!
I don't know why I just thought of this, but Mistress of Gaia. I don't know what that means, but that's what describes you very well.
I like that.
Yeah. And we have chosen kind of a twofold topic about this ascension process and why it manifests the way it manifests. So I know along my journey, I often wondered why I felt like I was getting more sensitive. The more I healed, the more I evolved, the more I became aware of the, even the aspect of the more you become aware of the world and the way the world really has been and, what's going on there. But it's more like energetic too. And we were also discussing the, why then also as we evolve, why do relationships shift so dramatically sometimes? Why do people fall away that we thought we were going to be part of their lives forever? Why does all of that happen? And so why do we get more sensitive and why? And I think they're related. I think they're very, very closely related as far as what happens to us energetically as we move along on this path. So Eartha, I'll let you, because I can see the wheels spinning.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it because, I like to think in terms of, I'm a very scientific person. Yes. So I like to think of things like scientifically, like quantum physics, energy fields. Why would that be the case that we, are more sensitive? And I guess what I'm thinking, what I got was, where we vibrate higher. So as we are aware, not only when we become aware of our energy, it's not only this like awareness of the physical things that are happening around us, or even awareness of our own internal processes, our body, like you were saying earlier when we were off camera, like one of the examples of being aware of ourself and our energy flow is that we stop wanting to eat junk food. We stop wanting to smoke cigarettes. We stop wanting to drink alcohol. We start, purifying our bodies more. We want to exercise.
We don't want to go to the bars and stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of scene, right?
As a result, as a direct result of doing those things, that awareness, we vibrate higher. We become, we start living at this higher vibration. And that
you can't go back once you click up to that. You can't go backwards. Damn it.
And that higher vibration houses probably a lot more of our energy, right? That's where our energy flow lives.
That's a good point, right?
So
we're
in that
opening
vibration,
ourselves up to feeling more of us.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are more sensitive, right? Like, even though we thought we were sensitive souls before this happened, and we would cry at, commercials and wonder why we couldn't go to, rock concerts for very long and things like that because we're weirdos. But it's just an increase, I think, in that whole flow, just like it increases everything. It becomes, and we are getting rid of the blocks, right? So a lot of it's not necessarily that we maybe walked around before and didn't feel this energy. It's that we ignored it. We blocked it out. We were like,
we built walls,
we're not feeling that. Denial.
Because it didn't feel good, right? It didn't feel good. So we're like, what is that? Nope. We were master wall builders, whereas now we're becoming master manifestors, right? And so when we turn around, so we get that new awareness, right? And then we turn around and try to engage in the 3D world, the world we just came from. It affects us. How would you explain, I guess I'm trying to think of people words, right? Like my guides are showing me a very clear picture, right, of why that happens, but it's hard to put it into words. How would you explain why that begins to affect us so much more, more instantaneously, right? Like I know people will be able to relate to this on the journey. Like we were talking about, before we started recording, is it gets harder and harder to go to the grocery store. It gets harder and harder to go to settings like the mall, even outdoor, festivals and stuff. It gets harder and harder to go to these places because we're because we are sensing so much more. And that is the more we up level, right? And if that doesn't, and I do feel like everything's moving right forward, but we sometimes uptick, we take a quantum leap, and the where we came from is that level below, and then it affects us even more. It's almost like trying to get plugged back into the matrix is what's causing those symptoms, like trying to relate back to that previous reality where we were plugged in. Now we're in the next room, right? Our dear friend Asia used to describe this ascension as a mansion, right? Remember that? And she would say, we're just going to the next room.
Mm-hmm.
And once you go to that next room, that door closes behind you. You can't go back. You can't pull people through. You can't hold it open for other people. You really can't. They have to be ready to go through it on their own. And once you go, so you can't go back to that old room, but we still live in all of these old rooms, right? We still exist where all of these old rooms exist.
Right. All of the all of the like energy that we exerted to create those rooms is still being energetically, it's still flowing through us, because we're operating in this reality that, like, if I could switch, snap my hands and be, we always say, this is something else that I think is confusing to people, is because we always say, well, you create your own reality. Yes, you do create your own reality, but you co-create the reality.
Right. We forget.
You don't do it by yourself. We're not in a vacuum. We're in our 0 point, we're in a vacuum, right? That's where our point of creation originates. But as it flows out and we interact with other beings, that creation tweaks itself to whatever frequency they're at to accommodate all of these frequencies. And so our 3D world is still operating on this like autopilot of, okay, this is who Kate Lincoln is, that's who I was before. I'm this and that. And so these Kate Lincoln remnants of my life are still working, and I still have to interact with them because that's the world that everyone else is in. Whereas I sit here higher, and I don't necessarily have to bring myself down to that. That was always my question when I was, first learning too. I was like, how do I bring myself back down? Don't bring yourself down.
Right.
Just
that's where we misunderstand, I think, is we think we have to, and we try. We're trying so hard to relate to these people again that we just cannot relate to. And it could be, touching on the topic. Sorry, I hope the wind isn't too bad. All of a sudden it wants to be windy. I'm sitting outside. But touching on the topic of why people fall away, all of a sudden it may be literally one day to the next. And for some people, 1 minute to the next, where they go up to the next level, and someone they were just almost nearly perfectly aligned with didn't go, because we're all on our own journey. And all of a sudden they don't feel aligned with them anymore. And then they're freaking out because they're like trying desperately to realign, which is trying to lower their own vibration, which we can to a certain degree, right? But once we go to that next room, you are in that vibration and higher. You cannot go back to, so you can get to the middle of the room and then you can get thrown back to the door again, but you can't go back to that previous room. You can't go down to a certain level. And a lot of times the people, everybody's kind of doing this, and I know people can't see me because we're probably just going to do audio, but we're kind of all kind of rubbing up against each other, and some of us will pull ahead, and then somebody else will pull ahead, and then it's all kind of a ebb and flow, give and take. We're all moving along together, but we're not going to be perfectly aligned with everybody. So even somebody who maybe you felt really aligned with for a long time, and you thought, oh, well, this is it. we're going to be part of each other's lives forever. You can wake up one day and go, shit, I don't feel it anymore. I can't feel. And sometimes literally you just can't tune into their field anymore the way you used to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel the same. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. We just have to learn to, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to, it doesn't mean that you can just, woo, all right, I'm going to just keep moving forward. You will grieve. You have to allow yourself to grieve for that, whatever that looks like. This could also be people like, this is the one of the points, right, is to move out of alignment with people that you were never really aligned with in the first place, the toxic relationships that you were always kept trying so hard to fit into. And then you realize that you just can't anymore. And those fall, you're going to grieve for those too.
Right.
So that's one thing people are like, oh, well, why do I feel sad about it? He was an asshole. Well, he was still part of your life. He was still part of that structure that your reality that you created. He was part of that. And all of a sudden he's gone. You have to allow yourself to grieve, even the people that you know were bad for you, or the places, things, jobs, all of that, jobs that were bad for you. You're going to grieve it. But the whole sensitivity is hard. And it's because we're literally, we're these high vibrational beings. And again, we're not saying this, guys, none of this is from ego. None of this is, we're better than you. We're probably we're probably preaching to the choir anyway. You all are resonating with this. Is we came from very high vibrational states to come down here and help. And we will never 100% be in this. We never were in that 3D vibration, right? We never could get down to that level.
Right. Yeah.
And so now we're finally feeling more and more like us, right? The more we evolve, and now we're just hungry for more, but we're forced, like, we say, we have that phrase, we are still in the world, but we're not of it. And so we're not plugged into the matrix, but we're still forced to be here. And not forced, we chose, but we still we create that belief that we're stuck here in this,
right.
And we were talking about this too earlier, that we're stuck in our situations or whatever, when we have to remember that we chose to be here. We have a mission. And yes, linear time can suck sometimes, because you have to live every moment. You can't escape any of it. But it's for a reason, right? We're not just here to help. We're getting huge soul growth out of this too. And that was another reason. We're like, sure, we'll sign up for that. But it's hard sometimes to be so sensitive. That's why they call empaths sensitives, right? That's another term they use for.
Yeah. So what would be your advice, Wendy, to somebody who feels like they, are feeling like, why am I suddenly not connecting to this person anymore? Like, what would you suggest this higher vibrational person do when they're finding these relationships dropping off?
And it depends on the relationship too. Like if it's a marriage, obviously you can't instantaneously end a marriage, unfortunately, in this reality, right? Like it's a time consuming kind of thing. But I would recommend energetically pulling away for a while and assessing, right? And being an observer of what's really going on, because sometimes it can be a very short-term thing. You might, like you and I, even Eartha, we've talked about this, we have not been aligned in the past. Right. And then we keep coming back together. And then we're not aligned for a while. And then and that's fine. We know how it works, right? We already knew how it worked. Mainly because of the woman who brought us together. Like she taught
right.
us. But so I would say pull back energetically, which we are all, and we have right away, I'm feeling like a collective, oh, I can't do that, like guilt, shame, I can't do that. This is my best friend, or this is my sister, or this is my mom, or this is my husband, or my wife, or my child even. We're not always aligned with our children, you guys, especially if they're adults. And you may not even be meant to be a huge part of their lives. We give them wings, right? So they can fly. We don't,
That's right.
We have to not need them to always be near, right? We have to let them go. But, it obviously depends on that. And again, the wind always likes to whip up, I think, when I'm saying something important, right? It's like, hey, keep going, girl. But you're obstructing my ability to talk. Yeah, pull back energetically and be an observer. Just set and it's as easy as, you go into a meditative state, 3 deep breaths is as easy as that. And then you just say, I set my intention to be an observer of this. I want to observe this relationship, this energy of this other person, and see what's going on here. Because it's not, and it's not easy always, because you can feel, that feeling of being in purgatory kind of with somebody is very off-putting, right? It's not comfortable. But that's why separating will help. And making sure your boundaries are there, because if this is somebody, let's say this is somebody who's very much entangled with you, they're going to not like you feeling you pulling away.
Right.
And you need to. You need to be able to. And so you have to get boundaries set. And this is where I think a lot of people forget, reach out to somebody for help with this. Like, we have so many friends. We're here to help each other, right? We're here to pull each other through this too. And, you know, reach out to somebody, you know, who everybody knows somebody now. I just refuse to believe that's not true, because we all have crazy people like Eartha and I. Y'all have somebody in your life. I know you do. Don't deny it. Everybody's, you know, it used to be the crazy aunt who had with the crystal ball, and now we're everywhere. So, and we're all going crazy, you guys. Come to the dark side. We have cookies. But yeah, definitely separate, pull away energetically and assess. I would say the best advice I've ever gotten is don't make a rash decision to cut these people off, because you never know what's really going on. It might just be a very temporary thing. Because then, and again, it's all perfect, right? If you do that and they come back around, then they come back around, and you needed that growth. But if it brings awareness in, then, you know, the advice is important. Don't, you know, if you're feeling from yesterday you loved them and were aligned, today you're not, don't walk up and say, I don't want to be your friend anymore. You know, I don't recommend doing that. We're not aligned anymore.
Yeah. Just take time to yourself, realize, I guess one of the best things to say, I think, and that needs to be hammered into our society, you know, and we were shown, like, in stark contrast with COVID. This is the lesson of COVID. If anything could have been learned from COVID, it's that we need rest. We need to be able to take a day and lay in bed and not feel this horrible guilt and shame about it. Like, it is one
for
day,
not being productive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, if we're not producing stuff, if we're not, you know,
cleaning the house or taking care of people,
right, then we're nothing. We just and that is so far from the truth. It is so very far.
Other side of the coin. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
flip that coin over and allow yourself to hermit.
Yeah,
and get away if you can. Like, you know, if it's a spouse, if it's somebody you live with, try to get away. Try to go on a solo retreat somewhere so that you can see. The important thing is to zoom out, right, and look at it. You have to separate yourself from your emotional response, although you need to heal that, right? You need to work through that too. But to really look at the situation, you have to be that which, you know, I have my friend John always says, are you that emotion, or are you that which is aware of the emotion? So are you that situation? Are you that person in that situation? Or are you simply that which is aware of that person in that situation, right? I mean, it's all about remembering that these bodies are just vessels. This life is an experience, an adventure that we chose. And you can see it from an observer's point of view and be able to see everything, and not just from your emotional state, your current emotional state. Because letting people go, even toxic people, is hard.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is, because I think I'm thinking of like the toxic relationship that I have. And I don't even like to use that term but the reason why I don't like to use it is exactly my point. It's because I cared and care about him so much and I have accommodated my life,
right,
and every kind of material thing in my life to his expectations for so long that, like, freeing myself from that feels like I'm failing, feels like I'm
and other people will judge that too, right? They say it's a failed relationship or a failed marriage, or who failed? Maybe we just both needed to move on, right? Like,
right. Yeah. And I get, and just F society, I guess.
Right.
Really.
Exactly.
And listen to
I tell my clients, I think we both probably tell our clients that all the time. Like, oh, you care what he thinks? Fuck him.
Yeah.
He is. We should only be following our own heart. Nobody knows your heart but you. And you should only be following your own heart, and not even, we've talked about this before too, as hard as this is, to a large degree, we even have to let go of what we perceive might be good for even our children when we're thinking about what's best for us. We have to realize that if we're really pulled to do something, but we're worried about our kids, they're going to be okay. If this is something that is feeding your soul and you need to do it, then your kids are not only going to be okay, but they're going to see their mom or dad following their heart, everything else be damned, and they're going to be able to do that too in their own life. And that's huge. That's so important for their generation to learn that, because we weren't taught that. My parents, I hope they don't watch this, my parents did, the practical thing. My dad had dreams, my mom had dreams, they gave them up. They gave them up and did not follow their hearts because they wanted a stable life for their kids. And while I'm grateful for that, I had a very stable, solid childhood. They're wonderful parents. What I saw was, oh, this is what you do. You have dreams that never come true, and you just always wish, and you don't chase them because that's a waste of time and that's ridiculous. That's what I learned. And I want my kids to be like, hell no. Even if I'm, sleeping on people's couches, I'm going to follow my heart. And of course, my kids know, that, I'm grateful that I have my husband is a great provider. And he actually did that by following his heart. He wanted to be a pilot. He became a pilot. So I was really fortunate in finding someone like that, right? He didn't sacrifice anything. He did exactly what he wanted to do. And so we have a place for our kids where we have couches they can sleep on, right, if they need to. And we want to be that safe place for them, right? That safe place to fall when they're figuring out what does feed their souls or fill their hearts, because it can change too. It can shift and change and adjust and evolve just like we are, that dream. I think the more we open up, the more, we become more sensitive, but we also see more potential for what we can do. Like there's so many facets of this expansion. Like, it's hard to go to the mall, but oh my God, you can actually feel your wings. Like, we have these things that are hard to explain to people, but when you first feel your wings unfurl and come out of your back, you can breathe again for the first time in this life. And that experience is worth having trouble going to the grocery store, right? Like we're having both of these experiences. It's the duality that we're working through. And as this 3D reality falls away more and more, I think the sensitivity will get better because the whole collective is moving up in frequency, and we'll be able to exist within it a lot easier. And we're meant to go through this so that we can turn around and guide other people through it. It's like, yes, you're more sensitive, but it doesn't mean you're dying. It doesn't mean you're dying of something, or, there are a lot of ascension symptoms, that people worry about. It's like, oh, I've got this and this and this going on. And yes, go to your doctor, for God's sake, right? We would never tell you not to go to your doctor, but just know that there is a lot going on, and we are evolving within our physical bodies for the first time ever in the history of humanity. We've never done it with our bodies. Right. And so it's huge. And that's why the whole galaxy, the whole universe is watching us, and a lot of them are helping. Yeah. But everybody's kind of, it's like, people, that meme goes around about, but what if we're just a reality show? Oh my God, we are. We're totally a reality show, and the whole universe is watching. Yep. And hopefully they're laughing. Hopefully it's an entertaining reality show for them. But I'm sure they roll their eyes too.
I think it's everything. I think there's times when they cry too, and
absolutely,
and times when they're angry at us, and they're like, "Why are you fools doing this?" How you shout at the TV.
Mother war. What's wrong with you? Yes. What's wrong with you people?
Just dump that guy.
Oh my God! Right? You went back to him? What? Oh goodness! Yeah. There's so much we're learning, but it's and what? I guess how would you boundaries? Yeah, but what else can we do? Well, grounding. I want you to talk about grounding. Good ways to ground. That's huge for helping with the sensitivity.
Yeah, I was gonna say energy protection, but grounding is part of energy protection. So so just remembering that
Gaia is amazing at that.
Gaia is our mother and our true mother, and we we get every single thing that we need from her at all times. And all we have to do is ask her. Yeah. So we just, you know, even if you're not able to go outside, just close your eyes and think of a flower. Close your eyes and think of a tree. That's all you have to do to connect to Gaia. It's so simple. Just think of something that reminds you of nature, the ocean, a mountain, anything. And then focus on that and ask Gaia to bring you into her, you know, to remind you that she is with you, to let you feel her love for you, and her love will flow into you. And then from there, you can feel how powerful you are, and you can protect yourself with your energetic protection, asking Michael or other entities to, you know, sometimes I ask Michael, sometimes now I ask my dragon.
Oh
he's with me all the time.
Dragons are coming in and strongly. Everybody's talking about that, how the dragon energy is really coming in strong. You know, as we claim our sovereignty, it makes sense. Like dragons are the epitome of sovereignty. Like, did they care what anybody thought of them? Hell no. They didn't care. They don't care. So if you feel like dragons are popping up everywhere in your life, there's a reason. You have some guides coming in.
Ask them to help you. Ask them to come in and help you be strong, because they are there for us. Yeah.
And I do an exercise where I tune into and guys, anybody can do this, and it's super easy. If you're having a lot of physical symptoms, and like I said, go to your doctor, you know, for peace of mind, if for nothing else, do what you need to do, follow your intuition there, but know that you can tune into your own DNA. And I had my friend John even said to me this morning, he said something so simple and so profound: the body is its own doctor. And I went, whew, that blew my mind. I was like, yeah, it is. And so you can tune into your own DNA, whatever that comes to you as. And I thought of this because of the dragons. When I did this exercise, it was a dear friend of mine named Jenny Schiltz, who's on Facebook and has a beautiful blog. If anybody's interested, if I think of it, I'll try to link her because she's amazing. She did this class where we tuned into our DNA and you pictured them as dragons. And so you know how it's the double helix. So mine there are two dragons intertwined. And whatever colors, whatever, you know, then it was kind of a free form after that. Like whatever they do, whatever they look like to you is perfect. And I had one red, one blue, which for me at the time, it still kind of represents like divine masculine, divine feminine coming together. And they could uncurl, right? And they'd fly toward me and I could talk to them, and I named them. And so anybody can do this. Tune into your DNA. You know, again, all it takes to be in a meditative state is 3 deep breaths in a quiet place, right? And you can even do it in a not quiet place if you're feeling particularly centered. But, you know, 3 deep belly breaths. Might
I say, just since I have been recently studying the realm of psychedelics, is that if you can't take 3 deep breaths and go into a meditative state, please consider using marijuana to help you get there.
Absolutely.
Because it is from the earth. It is a sacred plant.
Medicine. We need
medicine, and we need it. And don't feel, there's no shame and no guilt or anything. And there's you're not bypassing your anything. You're not taking a shortcut of any way. You're just enhancing.
You're not doing something on the down low. You're not doing something dirty to get there.
Because
crazy when we're talking deep truth.
You know, I've been a pot smoker for basically my whole life. I think I started smoking weed when I was like 15, and I still have the whole even I live in California and I still am like, am I
still not legal
do this
all
right
over?
Here?
You know, there should never have been. There should never have been a question about whether it should be legal or not. It fucking grows out of the ground, you guys. It's better for you than coffee. Yeah. Much better for you than coffee that you're currently using. I know you are. I'm talking to you, whoever you are, that you're currently using to get through the day. Right? Marijuana, our brains, you know, we have what is it called? A cannabinoid system in our bodies that is severely depleted, and we let it shut down. And that is why you get high when you take marijuana, because your body's not used to it. when, if we were getting it in the quantities that we needed to, we wouldn't get, we'd get the good stuff without the weird psychotropic, right?
Yeah.
We get only the good stuff.
Because it's trying to bring your body back to balance. It's trying to balance the cannabinoids in your body.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to get it. They used to feed it to cattle, and we'd get it through the milk, through the meat, through the butter. You know, we'd get it when everybody was, you know, when most of the planet. I feel like there's a huge a surge for vegetarian and vegan, which is great too. It's all part of the process, you guys. But you know, we used to get it in all of our food. And we were much happier people back then, right? Like, think about it. We're only getting more and more stressed because that system has been so deprived, so deprived. And I'm a firm believer in bringing marijuana back into our daily, you know, nourishing our bodies daily with it in some way.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah. So if you're at the point, because I've done that with clients, you know, where I'm like, just take 3 deep breaths, and they're like, I can't get there. I just can't. Well, then go do it. Do whatever you need to do to get there. Yeah. So
then the world
and don't feel like a failure. Don't feel like a failure. And don't feel like you're not ever going to get there. Right. Because it's our natural state to be in a meditative state. So there's no way that you're ever going to fail. You are going to get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if this makes anybody, you cannot. We didn't come here to fail. We did not come here to fail this time, you guys. We're figuring it all out. And if this makes anybody feel better, when I spent 42 years, you know, going through the motions, being the automaton, right, in life, and being the super mom and never taking care of myself. And when I first, I started awakening, and I first started to meditate, trying to meditate, you know, of course, you know, we always think, I have to clear my mind, first of all, that's impossible. Stop trying to do that. What you need to do is let your mind go, let go of controlling your mind and let it release what it needs to release. And I didn't know that. I'm sitting there, you know, and I'm listening to this like binaural beats, right, which can really dig deep, especially when you're new to it. And my brain is like bringing up every dark thought I've ever had and creating new ones and combining them and creating this horror movie right in front of me. And I would make it about 30 seconds and then nope, not going to do it. And I couldn't do it because I was trying too hard, trying to meditate, when really all meditation is just sit and be and let your brain do what it's going to do, and know that whatever you're seeing is what's going. Let it go. It's coming up to go, and it's not yours, and it's not as scary as I always tell people. You know, I tell my kids, oh well, you know, they'll see like, oh well, I keep seeing, you know, I saw this thing on YouTube earlier, blah blah blah. You know, guys, no matter how much we monitor them, seriously, they still see shit. Oh, I saw this thing on YouTube and it's freaking me out. And I'm, well, what was it? And there's this beast of some sort. And I say, well, whenever you see it come in your mind's eye, turn it into a kitten. Snap your fingers and turn it into a kitten. And then guess what? It's not nearly as scary. And that seems to work, you know, a lot of times for them. So even, you know, it works for adults too. Turn it into a puppy, turn it into, you know, make it this big. It's still a beast, but now it's 4 inches tall. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, what I tell my kids too is so important to remember. You are the boss of your brain. Your brain is not the boss of you. No, and a lot of times it's through our brain and our lens that we allow, when we do feel more sensitive, trying to get back to our main topic, right? When we do feel more sensitive to energy, our brain will take it, our ego will come in and go, oh, well, this is not good. I have to protect you from this. So I'm going to make sure you're really afraid of this. So it will expand it, make it worse, and make you think you're having a panic attack or whatever, or make, you know, bring anxiety and make that mountain out of a molehill. When really it's just, okay, when you get to the point where you can look at it and say, okay, well, I'm just feeling that person's energy. I'm going to give that back to them because that's not for me. You know, if you've done your boundaries and things still get through, and you can have that awareness that that's not mine, that's a huge step. So just try to keep that in you know, plant that. Hopefully I can plant that seed for you as the next time you're in a situation where you're like, for me, I've always had trouble being in crowds, congested places. I don't care for it. And so now I can be there and just with my boundaries, right? And in my sovereignty as much as I possibly can in that moment. And I can realize, okay, well, that's that. Okay, all of a sudden I'm feeling really afraid. Oh, well, that's that person's fear. They're afraid of something in their life. It's not mine. But we have that energy, you guys, light workers, light walkers, way showers. We have that energy where whether they realize it on the conscious level or not, that we're here to help. And so they try to give it to us. They shoot it at you. They're literally shooting it at you like machine guns everywhere you go. And so we have to have boundaries in place or be so in your sovereignty where you can watch it all come in and go right out. Like, okay, there you go. You just keep on going and don't stop. But, you know, we also have that savior complex too, where we want to help. So we'll take it sometimes. Oh, yeah. I'm going to help. No. You don't have to. Your only job is to heal yourself.
Yes.
And in that, we are helping.
Yes. Keep your vibration high.
Yeah. Even if it means you're going to feel more sensitive in places, you're going to figure that out too, like why that's happening and realize it's part of the journey.
Yeah.
And maybe it's telling you too, like you were saying, Eartha, maybe it's telling you too, you need more self-care.
Yeah.
You know, if you're kind of constantly in that state of being, you know, sensory overload or being kind of thrown into that sensitive space, you need to take care of yourself a little better.
Yes.
You need more solitude. We all can find solitude somehow, even if it's as simple as locking yourself in the bathroom and putting earbuds in and turning on a meditation of some sort.
Yeah.
Find a way to block out the world.
And concentrate on your body. Like start looking at every single, I've done that before too. That's a nice exercise, is just look at every single part of your body, every vein, every wrinkle, every hair on your, you know, try to see
every bulge,
every single thing that makes up your body and tell it that you love it.
That is a good exercise. That's a beautiful exercise.
Yeah.
I sometimes just hug myself and say, I love you. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for making it to 50. We're going to make it another, at least 50. We got 50. This.
Woohoo. 50
right?
more.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I hope this helps. I think we got a lot of good nuggets of wisdom out.
I think so.
Channeling from Gaia.
Yay.
Gaia is a master Gaia can really help with boundaries. You can even visualize them coming up from Gaia and protecting you. She is amazing and she's so ready and willing. She's ready and willing. She's strong right now, you guys. She's stronger than ever. When we tune into her, it's like she's just that badass goddess that she used to be. And you know, we drove her away for a while, but she's back and she's reintegrated and she's ready to work, y'all. She came here to get the job done. We're not going to fail. We've got too many beings and entities on our side.
We do. Yay.
Oh, yeah. My people are opening windows now. See, I tried to find solitude on my patio. I had it for a while, you guys. The universe is telling us. Wrap it up, ladies.
Yep. Wrap it up. Okay. All right. Well, we love everybody listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. Spread your love.
We're in this together. Yes. Shine your light, you beautiful, badass lighthouse, you. That's all you came here to do. Shine it unapologetically.